All right, here we are again. This is our third installment of Pivot. I'm Monique Coles, and I'm here to share with you some things that I'm doing to pivot, and I'm doing my early planning in Q4. Who am I? I'm a mom. I'm a school counselor currently. I'm also an author of a few novels, and I have a passion for helping people. So I decided that it was time for me to pivot. And the way that I am pivoting is I am looking to change what I'm doing so I can do something else that can help me with some of the goals and the dreams that I want to be able to achieve. So what I'm doing is sharing my personal story and my pivoting. I'm sharing with you the acronym PIVOT, and so that you can use it yourself to maybe apply it to what's going on in your life to see if these are some things that might be helpful for you as well. My pivot, I'm learning how to trade. I'm learning how to day trade and other aspects of trading and that skill. So we've already talked about a couple parts of the acronym. So in a couple of the other videos that you'll see, we talked about the P, which is to pause and perceive. You want to stop, look around, see what maybe feels misaligned for you. Ask, is it your job, your current environment, your schedule that feels misaligned? Is it the values that you have right now? Is it not having a job? Is it just where you are in your status in life? You want to also look at maybe what is draining you. Right? Nobody wants to be drained. At the end of the day, we don't want to be drained, and we definitely don't want to be drained all day. So look at what is draining you, and then also look at what comes naturally to you. So I talked more about pivot and the P in one of the earlier videos, so you can go back and check that out. Last video we did identify. So next you're going to identify your ideal next direction, and there could be one of three paths that you may want to take to do this. Path one would be looking at something that is you're skilled in. It's skilled adjacent. Path two could be something you're passionate about. Maybe there's something you've been wanting to do, or you used to do, or you've dreamed about, and now you want to look at this as a possible pivot. Or it could be you want to pivot or need to pivot because of income or lifestyle. Maybe you need to pivot because you want to change your zip code, or you want to be able to drop one of those extra jobs you have, or you want to be able to just be more fulfilled. So that was the I. Now, today we're going to talk about the V, and the V is where we're going to validate and visualize how it is, what it is we want to do with this pivot. Right? So this is where pivoting starts to become really, really real. Now, you started off being honest with yourself because this is for you. This is your personal development. Okay? So this is where it becomes real. You want to validate. You want to do your research on roles and the industries, on the opportunities, whether it's the income lifestyle pivot you want, the passion pivot you want, the skill that you have. You want to look at that. If you can, try to shadow someone who is doing something that you want to do. And there are lots of different ways to do that. You can reach out to people. You can also ask, say 5 people in that field, what they wish they had known or done before they started in that particular place or field, right? If the wheel has already been, made, don't try to reinvent it. And you also want to look at salary ranges, flexibility, what kind of training you might need. You want to really do your due diligence when you're visualizing so you can validate this pivot. What you don't want to do is to pivot into something blind, just stumble into it. All right? So here's some homework. Write a detailed description of what your ideal day would be. Okay? What would your ideal work day be? Now, work day traditionally is, yes, going to work for someone else. But now this is you pivoting for yourself. So write that down. The next part, or the next second part of your homework is to look at what your ideal schedule would be. Okay, because you need to schedule things out. You got to plan things out. And then you want to write down how you want to feel. You know, there are lots of feelings that go on in our lives. Like I said, I'm a school counselor. So one of the things that we have is a feelings wheel. And this feelings wheel has a whole lot of different feelings on here that start with, you know, you could say, hey, I want to feel happy in my pivot. But I love this wheel because this wheel takes happy into other higher levels, like not just happy, but I want to be joyful, or I want to feel powerful, or it goes even further to say, I want to be courageous. So you want to think about how you really want to feel when you do this pivot. And now you want to look at what your new life would look like. What would your ideal new life look like? So you want your vision to be clear so that it's going to make your pivot much easier. Now, I recently have pulled down, I'll share with you all. This is my vision board. Now, I didn't make it in the traditional way where you cut things out and you put it on a board. One of my cousins, a Dr. Q, she shared her digital vision board with me, and I said, you know what? I'm going to make a digital one. So I just updated this within the last couple of days to make it clearer, and I actually have my my end date here when I want to have all of these everything I visualized to manifest. Now, so you want to try to do the same thing so that you'll have a clearer idea about what this pivot looks like. Now, in our next couple of sessions, we're going to talk about the O in pivot and the T in pivot. So I've got a mantra for you all. You want to say to yourself, I am not stuck. Say this aloud. I am not stuck. I am turning. My direction is shifting. My purpose is expanding. I pivot with courage. I pivot with clarity. And I pivot into my next level. Now, life sometimes can squeeze you into a corner that forces you to change. And what I want you to know is you don't have to break. And you don't have to compromise. You don't have to force yourself into a space that no longer fits you. You can simply pivot with intention, with strategy, and with courage. So I'm here to share that with you and do the homework if you're thinking about pivoting. I asked a few questions of people. If you're still sort of thinking, or this is your first time seeing this video, I don't know if I need to pivot, or I'm not really sure. It's so confusing. Well, ask yourself some of these questions. Do you dread going to work? Do you feel underpaid and undervalued? Do you feel like you're stagnant and you're not growing anymore? Maybe you don't recognize yourself anymore, or you don't recognize yourself in your job anymore. You feel called to do something bigger. Your life goals have changed. You're craving flexibility, freedom, time freedom, financial freedom, and elevation. What is it that you want? And you keep imagining yourself doing something else. Now, if at least 3 of these things resonate with you, it just may be your pivot season. So I want to thank you guys for, checking out these pivoting ideas. And I really, truly hope that as I'm going along my journey, this will help some other people in their journey. So if you like this, hit like, let me know, and let's connect and we can talk more. But in the meantime, get ready for your pivot.